Have you ever lain in bed at night, the lights turned off, the room completely quiet, and felt the person you love most in this world lying right beside you, yet somehow feeling miles and miles away? Your bodies are so close you can hear each other breathing, but your hearts feel like they're in two completely different worlds. You reach out with a small, hopeful comment about your day, something vulnerable, something that matters to you, and the response that comes back is polite, distant, almost mechanical, a simple yeah or okay, while their eyes stay glued to their phone or they roll over and face the wall. In that moment, a quiet, heavy ache settles deep in your chest, and this painful thought whispers in your mind. When did we stop really seeing each other? When did "I love you" start sounding like words without any feeling behind them? Sweet friend, if that aching loneliness sounds painfully familiar, please know you are not alone, and you are not imagining things. In 2026, with the non-stop demands of work, the constant pull of screens, the lingering emotional exhaustion so many of us still carry from the last few years, this slow emotional cooling off in marriage has become far more common than most people are willing to admit out loud. It doesn't usually happen with one big dramatic fight or one sudden betrayal. Instead, it creeps in quietly through hundreds of tiny moments. Missed opportunities to connect, small withdrawals, polite but empty conversations, until one day you realize the warmth that once filled your home has quietly faded, leaving behind this hollow, lonely feeling even when you're sitting side by side on the couch. I want you to take a slow, deep breath with me right now. You are safe here. This space is for you. Here on Secure Love Psychology, we don't come to point fingers or assign blame. We come with compassion, with science-backed understanding, and with real practical hope. Today we're going to gently name the 5 most subtle signs that your spouse may be losing emotional interest in the marriage. Not to scare you, but to empower you with clarity. Because when you can see these patterns clearly through the lens of attachment theory and the Gottman Method, you gain the power to respond with kindness and intention instead of fear or withdrawal. And most importantly, we're going to walk through 5 gentle, evidence-based tools you can begin using this very week to start rebuilding the emotional safety and closeness you both deserve. If any part of what I'm describing is touching something tender inside your heart right now, I want you to know I see you. I truly do. I understand how heavy this quiet loneliness can feel, especially when you still love your partner deeply, and you don't want to lose what you've built together. You're not failing at marriage. You're simply human, navigating patterns that so many of us learned long before we ever said, "I do." If this resonates with you, would you take a moment right now to comment the word secure down below? It lets me know these conversations are reaching the women who need them most, and I read every single one of your comments with care and attention. Let's begin this journey together with honesty, with gentleness, and with the quiet hope that even the smallest steps toward secure love can slowly bring the warmth back into your home. Before we dive into the specific signs, it helps to understand a little of the science behind why this emotional disconnection happens in the first place. Attachment theory, developed by psychologists John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth and later expanded by researchers like Dr. Sue Johnson and Dr. Amir Levine, teaches us that from the time we are very young, we learn patterns for how safe or unsafe it feels to turn toward another person with our emotions. Some of us learn that closeness brings comfort and security. Others learn that closeness can feel overwhelming or unreliable. So our nervous system developed ways to protect itself by pulling back. In adulthood, these early patterns show up in our marriages as anxious, avoidant, or secure ways of relating. The Gottman Institute, through decades of careful research watching thousands of couples, discovered that it's not the big fights that usually destroy marriages. It's the slow, steady accumulation of missed bids for connection. Those thousands of small moments every day when one partner reaches out for emotional attention and the other turns away, often without even realizing it. In 2026, these patterns are amplified by modern life. We're juggling hybrid work, endless notifications, financial pressures, and the emotional burnout that still lingers for so many couples after the last few years. What starts as small emotional withdrawals can quietly grow into a profound sense of disconnection. The beautiful truth, though, is that our brains remain plastic. We can rewire toward secure attachment. We can rebuild the emotional bank account. And that's exactly what we're going to focus on today. Not with grand gestures that feel impossible, but with small, repeatable, loving actions that create real safety over time. A few weeks ago, a woman named Lisa reached out to our community. She's 42 years old, married for 14 years, and the mother of 2 wonderful children. She described her evenings like this. We sit on the couch after the kids are in bed. I'll try to share something that's been weighing on my heart about work stress or how I've been feeling invisible lately, and he'll give me this short, distracted "that sounds tough," while continuing to scroll through his phone. Then he'll change the subject to what we need from the grocery store. I go to bed every single night feeling like I'm living with a roommate who happens to share my last name. I still love him, but I miss the man who used to look at me like I was his whole world. I miss feeling known. Lisa's story is not unique. It's happening in bedrooms and living rooms across the country right now. And it hurts in such a deep, quiet way because it undermines the very foundation of what we thought marriage was supposed to be. A safe place where we can be fully seen and fully loved. Let's look together at the 5 most subtle signs that this emotional cooling off may be happening in your marriage. We'll explore each one with compassion, with real examples from 2026 life, and with the science that helps explain why it occurs and what it does to our hearts if we leave it unaddressed. The first subtle sign often shows up as a shift to cold, flat, or distracted responses in everyday communication. You share something that matters to you. Maybe a small worry about your health, a moment of joy from your day, or simply, "I had such a hard meeting today and I really need to talk about it." And instead of the warm, engaged, "Tell me more, I'm here with you," you receive a short, polite, almost automatic reply. "Yeah, that's rough," or "we'll figure it out," while their attention stays somewhere else. The emotional temperature in the room drops noticeably. It's not outright rejection. It's quieter than that. It's the slow erosion of presence. From attachment theory, this pattern often reflects an avoidance strategy where the nervous system pulls back to protect against feeling overwhelmed or vulnerable. The Gottman research shows that when partners consistently turn away from these bids for connection, the emotional bank account begins to drain. Over weeks and months, the person reaching out starts to feel invisible, unimportant, and increasingly lonely even while sitting right next to their spouse. In 2026, with so many of us working from home or glued to multiple screens, these cold responses have become almost normalized. We tell ourselves they're just tired or it's been a long day, but deep down the heart registers the distance. If you've ever thought to yourself, "I feel like I'm talking to a wall that used to be my best friend," please know that pain is valid. It's not dramatic. It's human. And it's a signal worth paying attention to with kindness rather than blame. The second sign cuts even deeper into the heart. The quiet fading of both emotional and physical intimacy. The long, lingering hugs that used to make you feel safe and cherished become quick, obligatory pecks on the cheek. The deep conversations about dreams, fears, and what's really going on inside your hearts become rare, replaced by logistics about schedules, bills, and the children's activities. And if physical intimacy still happens, it can start to feel mechanical, routine, almost like a chore rather than a beautiful, vulnerable expression of love and desire. There's less eye contact, fewer whispered words of affection, less of that soul-to-soul connection that once made you feel truly wanted. Sarah, a 38-year-old teacher and mother of 3, shared her experience with tears in her voice. "We still have sex sometimes, but it feels so empty now. There's no real eye contact. No soft 'I love you' afterward. It's like we're both just going through the motions to check a box. I lie there afterward feeling more alone than ever. I miss feeling desired. I miss feeling safe enough to be completely open with him. I miss us." This withdrawal often happens because one or both partners are unconsciously protecting their hearts from further hurt or emotional overwhelm. The anxious-leaning partner may feel the distance as fear of abandonment and begin to pursue harder, which can paradoxically push the avoidant partner even further away. The result is a painful cycle that leaves both people feeling rejected, unseen, and questioning their own worth and desirability. In 2026, with the added stress of economic uncertainty and constant digital distractions, This fading intimacy can happen so gradually that you don't even realize how much you've lost until the loneliness becomes almost unbearable. The third subtle sign appears when your spouse begins consistently prioritizing everything else: work deadlines, the children's activities, hobbies, or even endless scrolling on their phone, over meaningful, intentional time with you. Date nights get postponed with maybe next week. Weekend plans turn into, I have that project to finish. The message, even if it's never said out loud, starts to feel like, you are no longer my priority. You become an afterthought in the very relationship you poured your heart and years into. Rachel, 47 years old and married for 21 years, described it this way. I planned a special anniversary dinner just for the two of us. I cooked his favorite meal, set the table beautifully, and hoped we could reconnect. He spent most of the evening answering work emails on his phone. When I finally found the courage to say something, he got defensive and told me the kids needed him more right now. I excused myself to the bathroom and cried because I realized I had become an afterthought in my own marriage. I still love him, but I feel invisible. This pattern hurts on such a profound level because it attacks our deepest need to feel chosen and valued. Yet the science is clear. When partners stop turning toward each other, and instead pour their energy into other areas where they feel more competent or less emotionally vulnerable, the emotional bank account slowly empties. The good news is that this can be gently reversed when we begin protecting couple time as something sacred again. The fourth sign is when conflict or even mild tension is met with silence, emotional withdrawal, or stonewalling. Instead of staying in the conversation and working through it together, your spouse shuts down, leaves the room, gives the silent treatment for hours or even days, or changes the subject entirely. This feels like emotional abandonment right in the middle of your vulnerability, and it can be one of the most painful experiences in marriage. Many women describe it as, I'd almost rather he raised his voice than go completely silent. At least then I would know he still cared enough to feel something. According to the Gottman Institute, this stonewalling is one of the strongest predictors of long-term distress because it floods both nervous systems and breaks trust over time. In 2026, with heightened stress levels for so many couples, this withdrawal can become a default way to manage overwhelming emotions. The fifth and often most frightening sign is when your spouse begins making comments that quietly deny or question a shared future together. Phrases like, I don't know if we'll still be doing this in 5 years. I'm not sure things will work out long term, or simply avoiding any conversation about future plans altogether. These words can land like a quiet dagger to the heart, because they plant seeds of uncertainty where security and commitment once lived. If you've heard statements like these, your heart probably sank with fear and grief. It's completely normal to feel terrified in that moment, wondering if the love you've built is slowly slipping away. Attachment theory helps us understand that these comments often come from accumulated unresolved hurts, or from an avoidant pattern where closeness begins to feel threatening rather than safe. The Gottman Method reminds us that when couples stop building a shared sense of meaning and future, the relationship loses one of its most powerful protective factors. Now that we've named these 5 subtle signs with honesty and compassion, let's turn our attention to the most hopeful part of this conversation: how to begin healing. Here are 5 practical, evidence-based tools you can start using this week. You don't have to do all of them at once. Pick just one that feels doable and begin there. Small, consistent actions create real change. Tool number 1 is something I call, name it to tame it. The moment you notice one of these signs showing up in your marriage, gently name the feeling to yourself first. I'm feeling disconnected and lonely right now, and that's okay to notice. Naming the emotion reduces its intensity and helps your nervous system calm down. Then when the time feels right, you can share it with your spouse using soft I statements instead of blame. I've been feeling a little lonely lately when our conversations stay on the surface. I miss feeling close to you. This approach opens the door for connection rather than defense. Tool number 2 is to practice small daily bits for connection and consciously turn toward them. The Gottman research shows that couples who turn toward each other's bids about 86% of the time have dramatically stronger relationships. Start with tiny moments. A gentle hand on the shoulder when you pass in the kitchen. A text during the day that says, I was thinking about you. Or asking, how are you really feeling today? Instead of just, how was your day? These micro moments of presence rebuild the emotional bank account faster than most people realize. Tool number 3 is learning to self-soothe before reacting. When the pain of disconnection rises up inside you, pause and take several slow, deep breaths. Place a hand on your heart and remind yourself, I am safe. I am worthy of love. I can respond from a calm place. This simple practice interrupts the anxious avoidant trap and allows you to show up for your partner from a more secure, grounded energy. Tool number 4 is to protect sacred, uninterrupted couple time. Schedule at least one short us moment each week, even if it's only 20 or 30 minutes, with no phones, no children, no distractions. Use that time to talk about feelings rather than logistics. Ask open questions like, what's one thing that felt good this week? And what's one thing that felt hard? Then simply listen and reflect back what you heard. This builds emotional availability without pressure. Tool number 5 is learning to express your needs without blame. Instead of saying, you never listen to me anymore, try, I feel lonely when we don't talk about how we're really doing inside. I miss feeling close to you. Can we find a way to reconnect? This language invites your partner toward you rather than pushing them away. You deserve a marriage where you feel emotionally safe, deeply seen, and warmly loved. The fact that you're here, listening to this entire conversation, already shows how much care and courage you have. Your marriage is not doomed. With awareness, compassion, and these small, consistent steps, you can move from emotional disconnection toward the secure, fulfilling love you both deserve. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me today. Your willingness to lean in and learn speaks volumes about the kind of partner and person you are. If this video touched something real inside your heart, I would be so grateful if you liked it, subscribed for more weekly evidence-based guidance on attachment theory, the Gottman Method, and building secure love in modern marriage, and left a comment with the word secure, along with which of the 5 signs felt most familiar to you or which tool you're willing to try first this week. You are not alone in this. You are worthy of a warm, connected, emotionally safe marriage. Healing is possible, and it begins with the brave, loving step you are taking right now by showing up for yourself and your relationship. I'll see you in the next video, beautiful soul. Until then, be so gentle with yourself and keep reaching for secure love. Blue Heart.